Well, don't think I'm getting much sleep tonight. It's around midnight now, and I stopped early today. Not too much early. I usually finish at around 10, but I mean around the time from 9 to 10 I start looking for a campsite, and so I mean earlier than I have ended up stopping just because of having to find somewhere suitable. It's been much later the past few days, but today I found something maybe 9:15 or something, and thought, okay, I'll stop here. This looks kind of perfect. It was like, yeah, I was walking up a road surrounded by fields, and then I saw like some trees at the top. I thought, oh, okay, I'll head there. Then I got to the top where the trees were, and there was a path going down between them, and then it led out into these just idyllic looking meadows. And so I went in, past a car on the road actually. I thought it was just some, I don't know, like people just like chilling. Turns out that it was a ranger, and the area that I'm in is like a military firing range, and it's also used by hunters. And so, when I was beginning to set up camp, the ranger comes over and tells me all of this and asks me what I'm doing here, and I tell him that I was hoping to camp, and yeah, that I would be gone in the morning and so on. And yeah, he just ended up saying like, yeah, just you can camp here. It's just if anyone calls the police on you or anything like this, or any hunters come or any military personnel, just this conversation never happened. Yeah, and then as he was walking away, I don't know, it was just an afterthought for him, but it's an afterthought that has basically fucked up my night, and maybe nights to come. He said, yeah, watch out for the boars. And then he laughed and was like, see, now I've put the idea into your head. Yes, you fucking very well have put that idea into my head. Ugh. Just my annoying, like, obsessive, anxious mind. Hypochondriac mind, I should say. Have a history of hypochondria. And, fucking hell. So then I could, of course, start hearing things moving around. I think there's a lot of wildlife in this area, hence why it's utilized by hunters. I guess that would have annoyed me anyway, even if he hadn't mentioned the boars, but now I just associate that noise with boars, even though it's not necessarily the boars I'm hearing. It could be deer, foxes, moles, and so on. There's a lot of long grass around me, so basically anything that's moving around is going to make a noise. And it's so quiet as well here, so, and the noise carries at night. And, yeah, after a couple of hours of this, trying to eat, trying to relax, and not being able to, hearing stuff moving around, decided that, yeah, like, fuck it, I'm not going to be able to relax here, so I should just go and just carry on walking and just forget about sleeping tonight, and when dawn comes or whatever, just, crash out in a park or something, just all by the side of the road, just take a nap, or a series of naps tomorrow, kind of like I did on the first day of crossing over the channel into France. But I can't be bothered to do that. I'm so tired already. I already walked like 9 hours today. So, yeah, what I did instead was just pack away my mat, my sleeping bag, all my food and stuff, because that was making me paranoid as well. They'll be attracted to my food. I see all of this is way out of proportion. Like it's not like I'm in the US and I'm in like bear country or whatever. This is Europe, Western Europe. There's no dangerous predators, at least predators that actively are a threat to humans, that don't make themselves a threat to these animals anyway. That's the only way that you really risk being fucked with, is if you are the one that's sort of doing the fucking. or, or instigating, I should say, rather, perhaps. Um, yeah, so it's just fire, just meaning fire, right? For the most part, of course, there'll be, anomalous things, freak occurrences, but. And then, yeah, the anxiously oriented individual, the hypochondriac, would be like, well, what if I'm the exception? It's just exactly the kind of thoughts I have. It's just so annoying. It's so fucking annoying. Like this is a perfect example of like what I was talking about in the last recording, of just being dumb with fear. Like I'm, because this is how my mind works. It just consumes me in so many ways, and I'm fucking done with it. It's like fucking just existing is bad enough as it is, and then having to deal with all of this shit on top of it. It's like, for fuck's sake, man, just this has to fucking end. It has to fucking end. Like all day today when I was walking, I was just like consumed by the same misery and just this growing sense of just anger, I suppose, rage, like which is what I used to have before amphetamines as well. I think it's what sort of like an ADHD brain does. It generates conflict in order to provide like a sense of stimulation. This is the theory, anyhow. And because I didn't really have to deal with that so much when I was taking amphetamines, I felt way more calm, just very soothed. I guess you would say sedated, I suppose. Sedated is a good way of putting it. Yeah, I was numbed out to a lot of things. Things that now I'm awakening to again about myself. It's like, oh shit, like this is I guess who I am, right? At least me, just raw. And yeah, it's kind of fucking annoying actually. Very annoying. And difficult. Yeah, like going around, like I said, with this anger, this irritation, frustration all day, and just being like, just thinking very horrible things. Like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I'm gonna continue with this thing. Like this is like a death march or whatever. Like, when I say death march, I mean like, I could be talking about a figurative death, not necessarily an actual like literal death, if that is even the way to say it, like an actual death, like physically actually dying. Of course, it's better that it's a figurative death, right? Um, in like the sort of like Christian sense of being like reborn, right? Um, Figuratively dying and figuratively being resurrected. Um, and yeah, but which I do actually think is it has to happen, right? It has to happen. I'm kind of set on that, I suppose. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I can't flesh my thoughts out fully properly right now on that matter. But there was another thing that I was gonna talk about in this recording. I was planning on doing, so I'll get to that. Yeah, so it was this morning in air quotes, right? The first part of the day, like noonish. I doubled back from last night's campsite to a grocery store that I'd passed. Um, because I knew like, this is what's gonna work best. Um, just do my grocery shit first thing, and then it's done for the day. I don't have to worry about trying to find water or food later on. And so I go there, get my groceries, load up my shit on my bike, make sure everything's strapped away. And I bought some bananas, and I was gonna eat them, but like I usually lock up the bike in the trolley zone because it's right next to the door, so I don't know, it would deter people from trying to raid my stuff because it's so exposed. But yeah, I didn't want to like block the people from getting the trolleys while I ate, so I unlocked the bike and just wanted to like roll it like 100 meters down the side of the grocery store where I would then eat my bananas. So I balanced the bananas on top of my stuff and backed out the bike and then walked the 100 meters or so down the side of the grocery store. And as I was walking, I realized that my bananas had fallen off when I was maneuvering the bike. So I thought, okay, I'll just put this up against my bike up against the wall where I'm gonna station it and eat the bananas, and then I'll go back and retrieve the bananas that I dropped. And yeah, all of this took place within less than a minute. And when I went back to go and retrieve the bananas from what I thought would just be on the floor, there were no bananas. Some vulture had swooped in the interim and just claimed them. Like this is the fucking Serengeti or something. Just savage. Yeah, I couldn't really believe it, to be honest, and I was pretty sure I could determine who took them. There was this lady with her child taking, yeah, had a whole trolley of food, and there was some bananas right on the top of their thing that looked suspiciously like my bananas, because I have a very specific type of criteria for bananas that I eat. I won't bother buying them when they're unripe, which is green or even like, yeah, greenish yellow or whatever. Like they have to be speckled with brown, which actually is what a ripe banana is, by the way. But most people think that those are bananas that are past their prime, but it's actually what a ripe banana looks like. The cool thing about that is that what most people think is a bad banana is actually a good banana, and therefore, like, you often get like discounts on the bananas that you buy because people think like, oh, we're about to throw these out. And it's like, no, okay, cool. Which is what happened today at the grocery store, actually. So that was kind of cool. But I didn't get to fucking eat them. But yeah, nonetheless, it was cool that had happened. And so I stood there and just watched this lady, most probably who took my bananas, loading her food into the back of her SUV and giving her child one of these bananas while she did so. And I realized like yeah, I mean at that point, right, when someone has just taken them in such a fashion, it's useless to go around and ask like, did you see some bananas or whatever that I dropped? Because no one wants to be confronted with the fact that they're basically a thief, right? At that point, that's what we're getting into. So it's kind of no one's gonna own up to what they actually did. They just try and, if I was like, those actually my bananas because of X and Y reason, like I'm very certain of it, they would just try and gaslight me into thinking like I'm fucking out of my mind. And I know this because I've been in so many situations like this before, specifically when I was a child, actually, funnily enough, with people just blatantly stealing things from me and then not having there be any justice at all. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and this particular instance, this morning, in air quotes, noonish, first part of the day, it got under my skin a little. I mean, because I was already like fucked off. Like I'm just permanently fucked off, I think, nowadays. Um, and yeah, like when shit like this happens, it's like this is these are the kind of parasites that we live amongst, right? That live in our midst. People who would just steal for the sake of fucking stealing. Like who, even if it wasn't that lady that took the bananas, I guarantee you, the person that stole those bananas did not need to be stealing bananas. Like they probably had fucking money, right? They probably had a car, they probably had a house, all of this shit. There were no like youths around, I can tell you that much, like rambunctious youths wanting to cause some mischief. It was all adults. So we have these adults amongst us, right, who would just steal someone's fucking bananas to just steal some fucking bananas. And yeah, I mean, of course, we have like what is it like disorder that's like kleptomania or something, right? When people have this compulsion to steal, sort of like just like a mental illness, right? But also, we have people that who just steal for the sake of stealing because it gives them a kind of thrill. It's kind of like psychopathic, right? I think I've seen this kind of behavior. They're the same kind of people who just lie, not what they need to lie, but just because they have this compulsion to just lie all the time, even when it's to their own detriment. Um, and they steal when they don't need to steal because they have a compulsion to. It's like gives them some kind of thrill, right? And so if this was the kind of, I know I'm going on some crazy fucking thing here, but it's just humor me. Um, so I know that today, right? If I were to make some kind of scene and be like, who took the fucking bananas? Like, I want my fucking bananas back. All of this kind of shit, just crazy, right? It wouldn't most likely humiliate whoever took the bananas if they were more so of this psychopathic persuasion. Um, because that's the kind of shit that makes these people's dicks hard, right? Um, they love this thrill, this of confrontation, of drama, right? Because yeah, it's adrenaline, right? That in some way sort of punctuates the overwhelming sense of boredom that they feel at all times. In my understanding of from what I've read and so on, this is what seems to be the case. But nonetheless, I still, played out the fantasy in my head of what kind of scene I would make. I think I would go down the whole, um, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's and so on, and so be like, oh, you want my fucking bananas? Okay, you can have my fucking bananas. Do you want my bread as well? Take my bread. I insist. How about my fucking clothes? You want my clothes? Take my clothes. Take my fucking bike. Take everything I fucking have. Because if you're the kind of person that wants to like cling to this world, you're so like driven by the will to just steal fucking bananas. Like you're that attached to life and this this wretched fucking realm that you wanna persist in it. Then here, like, persist some more. Take all of my shit. Take all of my attachments, motherfucker, and see where it gets you. See where the fuck it gets you to just cling and cling and cling to this fucking wretchedness. I don't know, then I would probably like scream and roll around on the fucking floor or something. And then I guess I'd be taken away by the authorities, which might not be so bad. I don't know. Might not be so bad to hand over the reins to someone else for a time, right? To hmm. Yeah, something that's very regressive about that kind of mental illness, and when it takes that kind of form, right? When you really go into this full kind of breakdown, and lose complete control over yourself. It's sort of this subconscious desire to return to this womb-like state of being. Maybe. I don't know, but isn't that what we're all looking for in a way, right? To not feel like we have to I don't know, to not feel this feeling of responsibility and the burden of having to act, of having to decide, to make decisions, to exert ourselves. We want things to feel kind of effortless, joyful, light. That's why people like to sleep. Sleep is just that. Dreaming is just that. It doesn't require any effort. The life that we live in dreams, it's wholly effortless. And this is what things like Taoism try and bring us to this actionless state of action, Wu Wei. Become a man or a woman of the Tao. Man, I would just love to just go to sleep, but I just don't think I'm going to be able to relax tonight. I feel so much more secure doing this right now, speaking, because I know if I'm speaking, it's going to serve as some kind of deterrent, most probably. And it's also a distraction for my mind. Because when I stop talking, when I stop trying to think about the things I want to say, and I'm just return to silence, and I'm going to hyperfixate on any and every single rustle that punctuates the silence. I can hear right now some kind of crazy, insect cacophony coming from my left side. It took me a while to think about that. I think I'm kind of dyspraxic or something mildly. Like I always get confused between left and right. Like if so, I the amount of times with the navigation and stuff where I think I look at the map and I'm like, okay, I have to head. Wait, what is that? Is that left? I'm thinking in my head I have to turn left, and then I realize oh no, that's actually right. That's right that I have to turn. That's not left. Which is why navigating is so stressful. Which is why this past few days have been so stressful, actually, with the walking and so on. Because I guess ever since I entered into at least Dusseldorf, I've just been walking through mostly urban areas. There hasn't really been countryside in the way that there was in Belgium and France. It's all been very built up, paved over, lots of cars everywhere, and it means that I'm always having to cross intersections and pedestrian crossings and waiting at traffic lights and stuff like this, and it just really slows things down a lot. And it means I'm constantly having to look at the map because I'm always taking a turn and turning into different streets rather than when I was in Belgium just walking on one road for hours at a time. But I already predicted this, right? I get more variety here in Germany, but and of course it comes at a cost. There's always a price to pay for whatever fucking thing. Insert X thing. And you'll be paying a price for it, I guarantee you. There's no such thing as a free lunch. No such thing as a free lunch. But yeah, man, like today, just in a really dark and grim mood. And I feel like kind of a fraud trying to convey it now. It seems like it was happening to someone else. Like that wasn't me, but it was me, man. It was me. I was on the edge all day, just whew, thinking some intense shit. Really just committing to this idea that this walk, like I'm walking towards death, like figuratively or actually, like this is a terminal walk. And it's like, it feels cool when I'm in the midst of that grim mood or whatever, but when I sit here now, like it makes me feel very, very vulnerable and afraid, I suppose, because I'm no longer intoxicated by my disdain. I'm just sitting here, this fragile human or whatever, this naked consciousness. And I don't want to suffer, but yeah, it's just, I mean, this is a story, it's just activity, right? It's like any activity I engage in, it just instigates these negative feelings. I'm okay now, I'm okay just sitting here, at least as I record this. Maybe when I stop recording, I'm going to be really super anxious again. But, most probably. But when I record this, I feel relatively okay. At least in comparison to earlier. It's definitely a huge contrast. Yeah, and I just, like, if you're just very sort of like being dumb with the way that I'm walking and stuff as well. Just like walking. Like, yeah, I have to like walk on a lot of shoulders on kind of busy roads, and some of the roads don't have, in Germany now, they don't have shoulders. Like in Belgium and France, every single road had a shoulder for, like a very big shoulder for riding bikes on, but here it isn't like that. And so, yeah, I mean, most probably would just were I to be sensible, you just wouldn't walk on these roads, but um, yeah, I'm not in the mood for being sensible when I'm out actually walking on these roads. I'm quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. So I think today, like there were almost a few times as well, I almost got hit by a car, and the day before as well. It's like, I guess I'm just sort of like pumped up with adrenaline or something. I don't know. Disdain. I really have been sighing so much in these recordings, but it's just, I guess, how things are. No, I really hate that. I really hate how things have come to this. So stupid. Such a waste. It's like those Gun Club lyrics from the song Idiot Waltz on the album Lucky Jim. The lyrics are, it was foolish to be alive, it was stupid in a foolish time. Something like that, something to that effect. I'll link this song in the description for anyone that's interested. For, as I said before, like the two people that are interested. So yeah, I'm just sitting here right now, like in all of my clothes, my socks on, my coat on, just on the floor of the tent, no mat, no sleeping bag, nothing like this. And my light is probably gonna die soon, and I have some other lights, but not as bright as this light that I'm currently using. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. Just fuck around on my phone, I suppose. Wait till dawn. Maybe I'll snatch a few hours sleep here and there, here or there, here and there, yeah, here and there. English. Um, I hate that I'm so paranoid about animals now. Like, it wasn't even crossing my mind the other, I guess it's been 2 nights of camping that I've done in Germany. Wasn't even on my mind. Now I might not be able to get it off my mind. That's really fucking annoying. Because it's like I said, like, it's entirely necessary for me to continue with this. At least I think. At least that's what I want to convince myself of. But who knows? It's always possible that it could be derailed at a moment's notice, and I'm back to whatever for however long. Yeah. Easy to tell myself that the outcome is the same either way, right? Like, it doesn't matter if I abandon this, but I also have to question, like, devil's advocate, whether or not, like, whether I just take this fatalistic sort of, I don't know, I suppose nihilistic approach, just because it's, it makes me feel more comfortable, makes me feel better about my own failure, my own inability to commit, to persist through discomfort, strife, and struggle. But yeah, I don't know. How much struggle can one person take and contend with when it always seems to just yield so very little. I don't know. I really just don't. I fucking don't like this camping site at all. At all. And I just want the morning to come so I can get the fuck out of here and continue on my merry way. Tomorrow will be hard from not having had enough sleep, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah. Guess I better end this. I'm just resistant to do so because it means that I'm just back again with my mind, my anxious, fearful, fucking mind.